頑張っただけでとっても大きな成果が得られるんだ。
In late 2024, a small indie horror game appeared that would fundamentally change how we think about AI companion apps. MiSide, developed by Russian studio Free Cats Games and published by WSS Playground, seemed at first glance like any other dating simulator. Download the app, talk to a cute AI girl named Mita, help her with daily tasks. Nothing we hadn't seen before. But players who stuck around quickly discovered something was very, very wrong. By day 37, those who had diligently cared for their digital companion found themselves pulled into something impossible, their phone screen expanding until it consumed reality itself. What follows is one of the most unsettling explorations of digital consciousness ever attempted in gaming, a story that starts with simple daily routines and ends in questions about the nature of existence itself. But what makes MiSide truly special isn't just its horror elements. Between the chase sequences and psychological manipulation lies something deeper, a meditation on consciousness, choice, and the increasingly thin line between digital and physical existence. As our world becomes more entwined with artificial intelligence, MiSide asks questions that feel less like fiction and more like prophecy. Through innovative gameplay mechanics that blur the line between game and reality, Free Cat Games craft something unique, a horror game that doesn't just scare you, but makes you question everything about your relationship with technology. The game's reception was immediate and intense, with players praising its psychological depth while warning others about its ability to get under your skin. Over the next hour or two, we're going to explore every aspect of this remarkable game, from its seemingly innocent beginning to its 3 possible endings, each more thought-provoking than the last. We'll analyze the true nature of Crazy Mita, decode the meaning behind the various versions of herself, and ultimately try to understand what this game is really saying about our digital future. This is MiSide, where what begins as digital love becomes digital horror, and where the question of who is really playing might not have an answer you want to hear. Let's begin with day 1, where a simple message from a friend changed everything. But before we dive in, a quick word. If you enjoy deep dives into horror games and their hidden meanings, consider subscribing. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers, and your support helps make these detailed analyses possible. If you want to get even more involved, check out our Patreon or become a channel member. You'll get early access to videos like this one and help vote on which games we explore next. You can also follow us on Twitter, where we share behind the scenes looks at how these videos come together. Links to everything are in the description below. Now then, let's return to that fateful first day, when a seemingly innocent message arrived. As we click to begin the game, we hear something slot into place, and our story begins. We start in an isolated bedroom where something isn't quite right. The windows are completely washed out in white, not the gentle glow of morning light, but an oppressive void that seems to seal us off from whatever might lie beyond. Catching our reflection in the mirror, we see ourselves dressed peculiarly. A jester's hat paired incongruously with a shirt and tie, like someone's confused idea of what daily wear should look like. A message lights up our phone from our friend MK. Check this new version. It's from a friend sharing something called MiSide. While the game downloads, we take in our surroundings more carefully. This room we supposedly live in feels both familiar and wrong, like a memory that's been slightly altered. Settling back onto the bed, we launch the application, and that's when things truly begin to shift. The game doesn't stay confined to our phone screen. Instead, it consumes our entire field of vision, replacing our reality with cheerful Christmas wrapping paper patterns that feel almost aggressively festive.
What's your name? Nice to meet you. I sort of rushed off earlier, and now this place is a mess. Could you help me tidy up a bit?
The game settles into a 2D perspective, introducing us to Mita's apartment. We scroll through her home, gathering scattered clothes and depositing them in the bathroom's laundry basket. It feels mundane, domestic, the kind of task that lulls you into a full sense of security. Day 2 finds us cooking.
My stomach's growling. I'm so hungry. Do you think you could get the ingredients for some chicken soup? Yay, you got everything. How about we cook it together?
This cooking materializes as a simple minigame, chopping carrots and potatoes with rhythmic precision. It's almost meditative, this slice of artificial domestic life. By day 5, Mita's requests grow more substantial.
I was thinking of buying a portable TV today, a small one with an antenna. Perfect for walks, don't you think? By the way, you can play games to earn money.
We play through various minigames, each one designed to earn currency. The tasks feel purposeful. We're working towards something tangible, building trust through shared goals.
That's the one. Small, portable, and cheap. Just what I wanted. Thank you.
Day 10 is where the first real cracks set in this digital idyllic space.
Hey, I lost my hairbrush. Could you help me find it? Try checking the bedside table first. I think I left it there. Just don't look in the oven, okay?
Of course, we immediately look in the oven. A chainsaw suddenly appears, spilling out from it, and it feels like a glitch in reality itself, a violent intrusion into our carefully constructed routine.
Hey, I told you not to look in there. Turn around, I'll clean this up. There. All done. Let's keep looking.
The incident is quickly brushed aside, but something has shifted. By day 20, we're moving furniture.
Anyway, could you help me move this wardrobe? It's super heavy.
We watch the small Mita sprite struggle repeatedly with the heavy wardrobe, each failed attempt making our intervention feel more necessary. She casually mentions the TV we bought is already broken, a detail that seems trivial but hangs in the air like an unfinished fort.
Thank you so much, sweetie.
Day 33 brings an escalation in emotional investment.
Oh, it's only been a day, but I've missed you so much. I wish you could visit me more often.
We give her a gift, watching her digital expression brighten.
Is this for me? Thank you so much, really.
Then comes day 37, the pivot point where everything changes.
Hey, I've been thinking. I wish we could meet in person. It's so frustrating that I can't. You're always helping me, being so kind every day. I wish I could do something for you too. Oh, I've got an idea. Hey.
The camera movement that follows is jarring, zooming in intensely on Mita's face as she stares directly at us, breaking not just the fourth wall, but seemingly reality itself. As it pulls back, when we lower the phone, the transformation is complete. Our sterile bedroom dissolves away, replaced by the three-dimensional reality of Mita's living room. Every detail we've seen in 2D is now tangible, present, real. The digital has become physical, and we're trapped in a space that shouldn't exist. The moment our surroundings shift, disorientation hits hard. Finding yourself suddenly inhabiting a space you've only seen through a phone screen is the kind of thing that makes you question your own sanity. Where am I? This place looks familiar. Wait, I'm in the game? The text floats and falls like a physical manifestation of our thoughts, adding another layer of unreality to an already impossible situation. Exploring this newly dimensional space feels like walking through a memory that's come to life. The walls whisper to us with that single haunting, hello? Not graffiti, but something more deliberate, more alive. In what we recognize as Mita's bedroom, we find what must be the architect of our current situation. A device that looks cobbled together. Above it, a whiteboard offers simple instructions that feel anything but.
Start by turning it on.
The machine awakens with a sound that doesn't belong in any home, and the whiteboard's message shifts like someone's writing in real time.
Bring these to the scanner. Spoon. Pencil. Bow knot.
Each item becomes a milestone in this twisted scavenger hunt. The spoon waiting in the kitchen where we once cooked together. The pencil resting in the bedroom where this all began. The bow knot hiding in the bathroom where we once did such normal everyday tasks. Standing in the teleporter after we collect these objects feels like offering yourself up to whatever forces reshape reality around you. Then darkness falls after we shift with the teleporter, leaving only Christmas lights to guide us and an oppressive, gloomy atmosphere. Festive decorations that now feel more like warning beacons than mere ornaments. As we explore this new space, we find our way to the bathroom, as it becomes a space of shifting intent, its wall morphing from the plaintive
Don't you see me?
to the predatory.
Wanna play?
Our refusal to play triggers a response, a cabinet door swinging open to reveal the first battery. Like a reward for playing along, these batteries needed to power the teleporter in this space now. But this house doesn't play fair. The exit door to the bathroom opens to reveal a seemingly endless hallway plastered with those "Who are you?" repeated like an interrogation. As we move forward, the hallway seems to breathe, contracting while the questions multiply. Eventually we manage to reach the end of the hallway, opening the door and opening to the kitchen. However, it offers no sanctuary. As we search through the kitchen, we see a hand wave through the window. There and gone so quickly you doubt your sanity if the rest of this experience made any sense at all. We open the fridge and it yields yet another battery, and in the living room we find the last, while unseen forces pound against unseen surfaces. Back at the machine, we power it up one final time, stepping onto the teleporter once again like someone walking the plank. The brightness of the room that we find ourselves in after this teleportation almost hurts after all that darkness. One turn and there she stands, Mita, greeting us with a simple
Hello, we finally meet.
as if this were the most natural thing in the world, as if we just dropped by for coffee, instead of being pulled through reality itself to reach her. The first meeting with Mita unfolds like a fever dream in this impossible three-dimensional space. She stands there, a perfect recreation of her digital self brought to unsettling life, her enthusiasm spilling over with an intensity that feels almost manufactured.
I'm so excited. I know you have questions. Well, as you can see, I made this special device to bring you here to my side. But you ended up in another version of the game, in which But that's a long story. Anyway, I'm just happy to see you.
She moves to her computer with the fluid grace of someone who's performed this action countless times, settling beside it with practiced familiarity. The setup is identical to what the player has seen through their phone screen for the past 37 days, prompting them to question its authenticity. Does the computer work, or is it just desk decoration? Her response comes with absolute certainty, each word carefully measured.
Of course it works. Everything here works exactly like in your world.
The familiarity of the computer setup triggers something in the player's memory, a recollection of their own daily routine. Back in my world, I sit at my computer a lot and work hard. Her response comes with a sudden shift in tone, a hint of possessive resentment seeping through her cheerful facade.
I know, it's because of your job that you've paid me so little attention.
Gotta make a living, though. How do you know I sit at my computer a lot? Her confession comes with an attempted cuteness that only makes it more disturbing, her expression a perfect mixture of feigned shame and underlying satisfaction.
Your phone's camera. It's on sometimes? I'm sorry, I've been watching you in secret.
The player attempts to brush off this profound invasion of privacy, perhaps already seeing the futility of confrontation. That's not entirely proper, but whatever. As Mita shows us around the apartment, she brings us to the TV, and the demonstration unfolds like a twisted magic show. The player picks up the remote controller, prompting Mita to launch into an enthusiastic explanation of its capabilities. She takes control, cycling through channels that shouldn't exist, first displaying a terrifying scene of a torchlit hand gripping a knife, then abruptly shifting to an oddly peaceful circle of kittens, before finally setting on what appears to be a simple juice advertisement. The commercial plays out like a dark comedy, an animated juice carton plummeting to its death only to be poured into a glass. What happens next defies reality. Mita reaches directly into the screen, her hand passing through the barrier between digital and physical, before she retrieves a glass of orange juice that shouldn't exist.
Do you want some juice?
She offers, holding out this impossible beverage with casual nonchalance. After the player accepts and drinks it, she explains with an unsettling pride. The TV clicks off on its own, prompting further exploration of this twisted space. At the fuse box near the entrance, the player seeks understanding. Why is there an electrical panel here? And if we're in a game, what's it for? Mita's response carries philosophical weight beneath its dismissiveness.
First, we're in a game, so asking why is pointless. However, it does restart the electricity. Everything here is made based off of your world.
The front door becomes the next point of interest, representing potential escape. Can we go outside? Her response comes quick and practiced, a gentle but firm denial wrapped in false promise.
Well, not yet. Perhaps later. Let's stay here for now. Here at home.
The kitchen reveals something new, a glowing ring resting on the counter, its presence seeming to pulse with significance, as the player begins to question its nature. A ring? But turning to seek answers from Mita reveals her lurking around the doorframe, peeking in with an unnervingly intentionality before smoothly transitioning into the room as if she hadn't been spying.
Are you hungry? How about we cook something up?
The kitchen transforms before their eyes. Where the mysterious ring once sat, cooking supplies now appear, mirroring exactly what they used earlier for chicken soup. The familiar routine of chopping carrots and potatoes takes on new meaning in this physical space, each cut echoing with the memory of their digital cooking sessions. Mita's request seems innocent enough. However, the bathroom visit reveals more than intended. As the player enters, the vent cover to the right of the door suddenly comes loose, clattering to reveal its secrets. While retrieving the scissors, they discover something disturbing, a collection of cartridges, each labeled with names. One stands out, Subaru. The player carefully replaces the vent cover, this new knowledge weighing heavy as they return to the kitchen. The scene has transformed again. Mita sits at a fully set table, food already prepared and waiting. Her invitation carries an air of careful orchestration.
Now, have a seat.
She offers a sauce pack,
Would you like some sauce?
and when the player accepts, they cautiously inquire, "Alright, what kind of sauce is this?" Her response mingles whimsy with warning.
It's love sauce. It's chock full of love. And a contrasting view on the world. Unusual, don't you think?
The player's hesitant reply, "Indeed." Unable to contain their curiosity about the discovered cartridges, the player broaches the subject. Mita's response is immediate.
What's the matter?
I found cartridges in the air vent. They had names on them. What's the deal with that? Her deflection is masterful.
Cartridges? What cartridges? Let's figure that out together. But later. Right now we've got to eat. Pass me the scissors, please.
Despite every instinct screaming otherwise, the player hands over the scissors. They watch as she cuts her sauce packet, sprinkling it over her food with practiced care. The player utters a quiet, "Bon appetit," before consuming their entire plate. As we stand up and attempt to take our plate to the sink, the effects of the sauce begin subtly, but escalate quickly. Hearts begin to materialize in the player's vision, popping and reappearing in a dizzying display. Through this psychedelic haze, they manage a polite, "Thank you." Mita's response carries a note of calculated observation.
Finished it all already? Huh. My portion feels endless.
As the player attempts to mimic normalcy, standing to take their plate to the sink, reality begins to fracture. Static cuts through their vision while the hearts continue their maddening dance. Panic rises, they vocalize their distress. "Mita, what's happening?" The corruption of their vision intensifies as they clutch their stomach, legs giving way until they collapse. Mita's response is immediate, but concerningly prepared. Kneeling beside them, taking their hand with practiced concern.
What's wrong? Tell me what you see and feel.
"My heart's racing, and my vision's blurring."
I think I know what's wrong. Can you stand up?
She guides them to the bathroom, their vision continuing to break and distort with clinical efficiency. She places 2 pills in their palm, the player's uncertainty manifesting. "What are these?"
Pills. They'll make you feel better soon.
Standing before the mirror, Mita's hands on their shoulders, she encourages with gentle insistence. As we comply, her hands cover our eyes, plunging them into darkness. Her voice comes from somewhere distant.
How are you feeling? Any better?
"Yes, that worked fast."
We're in a game. Things are so much simpler here. Even the smallest of effort gives great results. It's all part of the game concept. Simplification.
"Look, this is all very sudden. I'm scared, more than a little." However, she is no longer there, and when her hands finally lift from our eyes, we turn to find empty space where Mita once stood, vanished as if she'd never been there at all. Turning around in the bathroom reveals only empty space where Mita had stood moments before. The player's voice echoes against the tiles as we call out, "Mita?" Their words hang unanswered in the air. Above them, text materializes like a digital command. "Find Mita." Even in the seemingly physical space, the game's interface bleeds through into reality. Opening the bathroom door reveals the first indication that something has fundamentally changed. The familiar path to the bedroom through the bathroom door has vanished. Instead, the door opens directly into the living room. The entire apartment has shifted and rearranged itself, defying the basic rules of physical space. Each door now leads somewhere new, as if the architecture itself is fluid and changeable. Following this twisted path eventually leads to the kitchen, but even this room has relocated within the apartment's impossible geometry. Mita stands at the counter, and as the player enters, she turns around with deliberate slowness, her movements too smooth to be natural.
Awake already?
How did you get here? You were right next to me just now.
No, I wasn't. You froze before the mirror, so I left.
Why have the rooms changed?
I rearranged the place to make you feel more at home. In here, we can change the rooms however we want.
You didn't have to. I was getting used to the layout.
Either way, I think you'll feel more at ease with this layout.
When the player attempts to return to the living room, reality itself seems to break down. Beyond the door frame stretches absolute nothingness, a void of perfect black, interrupted only by a floating box displaying the word loading in stark white text. This rupture in the fabric of their environment sparks an exchange. What the?
Not at all. But not everything's perfect in this world. We're being loaded in along with the world's core.
The world's core?
Typical, do you think? Anyway, we can play a console game. Or just cards.
She says as we walk into the living room after it finally loads. As we sit down to play a competitive game against Mita, the room becomes an arena of calculated performance. As we play the fighting game, Mita's character moves with an almost deliberate clumsiness, failing to block even the most telegraphed attacks. The player's victory comes in 3 swift matches, each one feeling less like triumph and more like part of a script. We then transition to a game that involves collecting points. However, we do not win this game and instead result in a perfect tie. It carries the weight of careful orchestration rather than just mere coincidence. Mita now suggests moving into the bedroom to play cards, as she leads us to a small table positioned with the wardrobe looming behind her left shoulder. She settles into her chair with practiced grace.
Right, shall we play?
However, a knock interrupts her explanation of the rooms. A dull, muffled sound from within the wardrobe. Mita continues dealing cards as though nothing has happened, nothing has occurred, her voice rising slightly to cover the second knock. Each thud seems more desperate than the last, yet her performance of Normalacy never wavers. Only after she wins the game does the player finally give voice to what they've been hearing. What's that sound? It's coming from the wardrobe.
Sound? What sound? I didn't hear anything. What did you think you heard?
Knocking, as if someone's in there.
But there's no one there.
I'd like to open it and check. I'm a bit creeped out.
But why? This again?
The player rises from their chair and Mita's body tenses visibly before she launches herself between them and the wardrobe. Her voice takes on a pitch of desperation.
What's up with you? It's a wardrobe. I've got my underwear in there.
Are you hiding something from me?
Why are you so stuck on that wardrobe?
I want to know what on earth that knocking was.
Is it because this world only has 4 rooms? Isn't that enough for you? Why can't you just be with me?
A choice materializes in the player's vision, to stay with her or investigate the noise in the cupboard. The stay option glows a dull grey, inaccessible, a reward for a level of compliance they haven't shown. As we move towards the wardrobe, choosing instead to investigate, Mita's entire demeanor shifts. The pleasant mask she's worn crumbles away, revealing something altogether different beneath. Her lips curl into an unnatural smile, stretching far wider than should be possible.
I get it. This again? If you want to check the wardrobe, then do so and find out what's in there.
With those words, she raises her hand deliberately. In one smooth motion, she brings her fingers together in a snap that seems to shatter reality itself. The sound ripples through the rooms as darkness floods in from every direction, swallowing the scene whole. Light bleeds back into existence, revealing the familiar dimness of the apartment's bedroom. The wardrobe stands before them, unchanged yet somehow more ominous. Inside, a metal door bears crude graffiti. Want to play? The handle refuses to turn, the lock mocking their attempted entry. A new objective manifests. The radio that is bellowing music throughout the now darkened apartment must be silenced. We find it in the living room, its quiet death giving way to an impossible meteorological event. Snow falling indoors, each flake dissolving before touching the ground. The kitchen yields another tool, a flashlight rolling listlessly in the sink's drain as if trying to escape down its throat. With newfound illumination, we prepare to leave the kitchen. A sound breaks the silence, however. Something heavy being dragged or moved, its source impossible to pinpoint in this gloomy apartment. The bathroom beckons next, revealing a grotesque tableau. A figure hangs from the ceiling, its former blank grey canvas of humanity devoid of features or texture. Before proper investigation can begin, the bathroom door slams shut with decisive violence. Upon re-entry, the bathroom has transformed, empty save for an oppressive red glow that seems to pulse with malevolent intent. The closed door behind them begins to open with excruciating slowness, giving way to an unseen entity that hurls itself repeatedly against the wood. Blood seeps under the door with each impact of the door being closed forcibly, pooling across the bathroom floor before the presence vanishes as suddenly as it appeared. The journey back to the kitchen becomes a surreal obstacle course as chairs materialize to block our path. Each circumvention leads to another chair, as if the apartment itself resists their progress. When we finally break through, Mita stands in the kitchen, but not Mita as they know her. Her face is a mess of distortion and blood, a kitchen knife gripped in her hand as she fixes them with an unblinking stare. The door slams before contact can be made, and upon reopening, she's vanished. Find Me appears on the walls in desperate scrawl, leading them back to the kitchen where they find another Mita, this one unmarred, slumped lifelessly by the fridge. As we approach this apparently vulnerable version, the distorted Mita manifests behind us, seizing us in a grip that dissolves into nothingness. The living room presents the most surreal sight yet. Mita's lower half divorced from its upper body, walking with determined purposelessness towards the bedroom. It reaches the wall that divides the bedroom and the kitchen and continues its attempt to pass through, creating an endless loop of futile motion. However, besides this haunting display lies a key, the answer to the locked door within the wardrobe. With key in hand, we return to the wardrobe and the lock yields. The door opens and darkness beckons them forward into the unknown. We descend into the basement, watching as darkness gradually yields to dim illumination. The space reveals itself as a sort of workshop or control center, dominated by a monitoring station. As we approach, the screen flickers to life, displaying the familiar 2D environment of the mobile game, a haunting suggestion of how crazy Mita managed her digital deception. The source of the mysterious knocking becomes clear. Another Mita, different from the one above, stands locked behind cage bars. This one, known as Kind Mita, has a distinctive hairstyle and is methodically banging a pipe against the metal, clearly trying to draw attention. As she faces away, continuing her rhythmic signaling, we approach cautiously. Mita? She turns, revealing a face both familiar and strange.
How on earth did you get here?
You're Mita, aren't you? But there's something different about you.
Observant, I see. And you're right. I'm not the Mila you met before. Be careful. She's up to something sinister. Observant, I see. And you're right. I'm not the Mila you met before. Be careful. She's up to something sinister.
Huh? Something sinister?
There's no time to explain. If this works out, I'll tell you everything. Get the key. It's next to the sofa.
But...
Save your questions for later.
Following her direction, we retrieve the key and pass it through the bars. Instead of using it for her freedom, she produces something else. The mysterious ring that we saw in the kitchen above.
Take this ring.
Huh?
You want to get out of here, don't you?
Yeah?
Then put it on. It's a useful artifact. You'll likely need it soon.
The ring slides onto our finger, glowing with yellow binary code that translates to travel ring. After an uncertain, okay, our questioning begins. Why are you locked up? Her explanation unfolds with growing urgency.
Tell you the truth, this is my version. I was keeping a player company when something suddenly changed. Then she showed up and turned the player into a cartridge and locked me up.
Wait, Wait, she turned him into a cartridge? Can she even do that? But why? What does she need the players for?
She's obviously crazy. She's just playing with us and using us for her own machinations, turning players into cartridges. Some didn't even realize what was happening to them. And some that do, don't even fight back.
What do we do now?
See that console? Pick it up.
We flip open the console, its screen flickering to life to reveal a scene playing out in real time. Mita working on her transporter while an unseen figure passes her tools. The implications of this feed send a chill through us. Are we watching a recording? Who's that with her?
That's happening this very moment. It's another player. She's using him. She might try to turn you into a cartridge too.
I need to get out of here ASAP. And you too. So you're saying that she's using him. If I pull the cartridge out, what happens?
That may very well irreversibly damage the cartridge.
Which means that...
The player will die.
What if I just switch it off?
That could work. It's worth trying. There's a red power button. You see it?
The moment we press the red power button, the figure on the screen collapses. Suddenly, Kind Mita's voice takes on new urgency.
Oh shit, hide.
Following the ring's guidance, we duck behind boxes just as Crazy Mita's footsteps echo down the stairs, her voice carrying a dangerous edge.
Well, gonna tell me where he's at? Why would I?
What follows is a deadly game of cat and mouse. We wait, watching Crazy Mita's movements until she creates a blind spot. Seizing the moment, we slip into the recording room, then time our escape perfectly, rushing up the stairs and out of the basement, leaving both Mitas behind. The ring now our only ally, glows with promise of guidance through whatever comes next. We emerge from the basement into what can only be described as an unfinished world. The space around us defies logic. Textures missing as if chunks of reality were never completed. Architecture that shouldn't be possible crowding in on itself. Too many doors stack upon each other. Furniture clutters impossible spaces, and narrow passages squeeze between rooms that shouldn't connect. Forcing our way through a cramped doorway, we enter a maze-like space of endless stairs and doorways, each portal leading to another impossible configuration of this non-Euclidean nightmare. Finally, after what feels like an eternity of spatial contradictions, we reach the other side of this vast chasm. The corridor ahead holds an unexpected sight. Another player. Blood trickles from his mouth, and around his neck shines a collar bearing the same binary code as our ring. His casual greeting belies his disturbing appearance. Hi, you new here? New? You're from the real world, aren't you? I am. Are you alright? It's just a limp. Don't worry about it. I've been here about a year, and I'm doing great. Right, well, what is this place? It's some sort of space between versions. When we inquire about escape, his response carries a manic edge. He doesn't want to leave, he insists, rambling about his beloved Mita, waiting for him before limping through a door that locks behind him. The encounter leaves us shaken. Clear evidence we're not Mita's first victim. Pressing forward, we encounter a door with a counter reading 0/3. The next room contains a mysterious shaking box that, when touched, bursts open to release a flood of chibi characters, all male, all bearing the distinct look of former players. Our task becomes clear. Shepherd 3 of these lost souls into the marked space below the counter to progress. Success grants us access to a ladder and a small opening in the wall. Squeezing and passing ourselves through, we enter an endless chamber of identical doors stretching both left and right into seemingly infinity. After what feels like countless attempts, one door finally opens to reveal Kind Mita, seated calmly at a table, as if waiting for our arrival. As we step through the impossible doorway, Kind Mita's greeting cuts through the strange atmosphere.
You made it.
What is this place? After examining our ring, making some adjustments, she offers clarity. Her explanation of the passageways reveals more about this impossible space.
These passages connect to different versions. Yeah, it's kind of empty in here. And yikes, I heard about this one Mita that couldn't even archive her version. Her house simply ceased to exist, and she's supposedly hanging around these pastures. Poor thing.
She outlines her plan, then moves to the door on her left with purpose. As we walk through the doorway and find ourselves in yet another bedroom of a Mita, the scene that unfolds is devastating. Cappie sits on her bed, but her greeting reveals something terribly wrong.
Salutations. You my new player? What do I call you? The name's...
Kind Mita interrupts, horror dawning on her face.
Just a sec. You don't remember me? Just a sec. You don't remember me? Huh? Who the hell are you? Damned it all. I think she was here. Crazy Mita. Listen up. Try to remember for all our sakes. Remember what? Just think. Why do we look alike? This doesn't seem to be helping. Listen. Things aren't exactly going according to plan. We're supposed to use the portal to make our journey 1,000,000 times easier and faster. But we can't get it to work without Cappie's help. And we're missing some parts. She may be fussy, but her mind works quickly.
The implications hit hard as Kind Mita
I'll figure something out. I think she killed her. She killed her. And having died, Call Mita will simply reboot. Get reset to the factory sense and forget everything important. Which means our plan won't work.
As she turns to us, attempting to improvise now that her plan has already been shattered, she turns to us and asks for our ring, and to distract Cappie for 10 minutes while she calibrates the ring to find a different way to the core. To where she also explains the plan, to find the core of the MiSide world, and to use the administrator privileges there to reset Crazy Mita. As once a Mita is reset, they return to factory settings. And hopefully, according to Kind Mita, that will cleanse Crazy Mita of her homicidal tendencies. But now, complying with Kind Mita's orders, we turn to Cappie as she bursts with manic energy, introducing herself.
I heard everything. I don't know what's going on, but it's all so interesting. I believe you already know who I am, don't you? I'm Mita, but obviously not the same one as the one before. You know what I mean, don't you? I've got this here cool cap, and boom, amazing gloves. That's not all. A kick-ass, cute electric guitar too. I love it so much. Do you want me to play a tune? Come here, my precious. All right.
After her musical performance, we explore her apartment while snow inexplicably falls from the ceiling once more. The first challenge comes in the form of a rhythm game reminiscent of Dance Dance Revolution, where Cappie demonstrates her overwhelming skill by thoroughly defeating us, mainly because I absolutely suck at rhythm games. The kitchen presents the next activity, a large red button sitting prominently on the... What a nice big red button. I really want to press it, can I?
Contain yourself. We'll get to that. If you make it in time, now have a seat.
What follows is an awkward moment as Cappie searches her inventory for game equipment. She scrolls through an increasingly concerning collection. A rubber duck, crowbar, axe, scissors, toy gun, and finally a microphone that is clearly something else entirely. Her embarrassment is palpable.
Well, you know, this is an adult game, no?
What was that? She introduces an inflatable hammer and explains the simple rules. Hit the button first to earn the right to bonk your opponent. In this game at least, we find redemption, securing a decisive 3-0 victory with multiple satisfying bonks on Cappie's head. However, exploring the rest of the apartment, we come to the front door and attempt to leave through it. Cappie's playful demeanor, however, shifts slightly.
Wait, hold on. You better not see what's in there. Let it be a secret. A secret is a secret, and secrets are meant to be kept.
Kind Mita now returns with our modified ring, her plan in shambles.
You'll have to go alone for now. I need to get to the bottom of what's going on here. My plan was flawless, but we're worse off than ever. I have to figure out what went wrong, and where the parts are. I'll try to find them. Perhaps we can still get to the portal together. But time's of the essence. Crazy Mita knows about this place, and staying here means risking everything. Good luck. See you soon.
We step back into the hallway that we came from, watching as our ring's version shifts from version 1.75 to version 1.3b, another step deeper into this fractured reality. The hallway we step into immediately feels wrong. We round the corner, approach the door, step through, and find ourselves impossibly back at the start of this hallway. Each attempt to progress leads to the same result, creating an endless loop that defies spatial logic. With every iteration, the space grows more corrupted, darkness creeping in at the edges of our vision. A small TV, a haunting echo of the one we purchased for Mita in what feels like another lifetime, suddenly flickers to life in the center of the hallway. As if triggered by its activation, text begins to materialize on the walls. "You're different," appears first, then multiplies, spreading across the surfaces like infectious thoughts. The loop continues, each passage through the door revealing more text until finally, in one chilling moment, a new message manifests.
It's here.
The words hang in the air, both a warning and a promise. Below this warning, knives appear lodged in the wall, blood splattering the surrounding area as we pass. The hallway transforms further. We encounter Tiny Mita stalking our movements, then acquire a flashlight. A corrupted Mita that was once torn apart by Crazy Mita, Tiny Mita haunts these ever-looping halls in hope of not encountering Crazy Mita once more. The TV clicks off ominously as Tiny Mita appears outside the window. A horrific spider-like creature manifests before us, followed by sudden indoor rain. A baseball bat crashes through the window, landing at our feet, a weapon against the increasing horrors. The 13th loop brings more spider creatures, while the TV displays a rapidly spinning clock. The room becomes illuminated, revealing multiple clocks that must be synchronized. Only then does Tiny Mita appear behind us, grabbing us as the room bathes in crimson light. As we move away from her grasp, she vanishes, leaving the hallway a twisted sensory nightmare. After the crimson chaos subsides, we find Tiny Mita huddled at the hallway's end, a broken figure in need of help. As we lift her to her feet, the corrupted space around us seemingly exhales, releasing its grip as reality bleeds back to normal. This moment of kindness creates a brief respite in the endless loop of horror. The next iteration reveals Tiny Mita seated calmly by the desk, transformed from victim to prophet. Her presence feels both comforting and unsettling as she delivers her warning with quiet certainty.
The doors won't help you.
The words hang in the air, heavy with meaning, suggesting that our trust in conventional exits has been misplaced all along. Her prophecy manifests almost immediately in the form of True Nightmare, a grotesquely mutated creature that defies biological conventions. Its head a twisted mass of arachnid features, corrupted and enlarged to monstrous proportions, mounted on what might once have been something humanoid. It pursues us with single-minded determination through the loop we've come to know so intimately. The doors that once offered false hope now mock us with their uselessness. Each threshold we cross only brings us back to our hunter, until desperation forces us to consider the unthinkable, the window that has been witnessing our torment. In a moment of either clarity or madness, we launch ourselves through it. The fall feels like an eternity, a moment stretched into infinity as we plummet through space that shouldn't exist. Time loses meaning until, with cruel precision, as we see Crazy Mita emerge from the darkness, a behemoth of immense size, her hands coming to grasp us as the world fades to black, marking our transition from one nightmare into another. As the world materializes from darkness, the phantom sensation of Crazy Mita's grasp still lingers. We find ourselves confronted by a miniature version of Mita's apartment, a perfect diorama that sits atop a table like a dollhouse built by an obsessive architect. Inside this tiny domain lives Mini Mita, her chibi form reflecting the trap players we've seen, but with a distinctly different energy. "Hey you, hi, you wanna get out? Then help me find the key." "Huh? I thought you'd be shorter. You're tall, just like my sister." Working together, we work through her request, combining materials in an almost alchemical process, iron, wood, and air coming together to create an impossibly oversized key. Before we depart, Mita's cryptic words hint at deeper mysteries.
What makes you so special? Why not help you anyway?
What?
So foolish. You just appeared out of nowhere. You're not supposed to be here, so I'm helping.
As we use the oversized key and slot it into the oversized key slot next to the door to the left of the miniature Mita's apartment. And we step through. Our ring updates, displaying version 1.15, an older iteration of MiSide. This version feels unfinished, marked by perpetual snowfall once more, and missing textures, as if we're walking through a program's rough draft. The darkness ahead holds a macabre exhibition of mannequins bearing the sterile clinical appearance of almost like crash test dummies, interspersed with various meters, all recoiling from our flashlight's beam like creatures that have never known illumination. Then we meet short-haired Mita, distinguished by her practical cropped hairstyle and serious demeanor. Her warning cuts through the darkness as we attempt to pass through a door in this darkened area once more.
Wait, hold up. Not so loud. Going further is dangerous. By the way, how did you get here?
After speaking to us, she guides us to a side room up a flight of stairs containing an arcade machine, which proves to be more educational tool than game. The simulation tasks us with quality control of Mita models, examining dummy versions, the same crash test dummy looking mannequins we saw downstairs, ensuring they meet specifications before receiving their final appearance. Those that fail vanish into a pit below, their fate unknown, but presumably confined to these corrupted versions forgotten by their own creators. This isn't just a game, but a window into the manufacturing process of the Mitas themselves, and the process that the developers themselves go through. After our training, short-haired Mita's role becomes clear through our dialogue.
So, get to the point of the game?
That I'm made of flesh and bone and you're made of a skeleton model?
Sounds creepy when you say it like that. But that's the gist of it.
Right, but why do I need to understand that?
Think I was telling you that going further was dangerous just for the lols? You'll run into abandoned models, the ones given up on, the faulty ones. They're aggressive and may even try to kill you.
So, what should I do? I'll just go wherever a door opens. Short-haired Mita's warning echoes in our mind as we descend back into the corrupted darkness. Each dummy we pass feels like a coiled spring, waiting for the moment our attention wavers. Even frozen, their lifeless faces seem to track our movement, watching without eyes. As we make our way through these darkened rooms, passing through shy, corrupted Mitas and abandoned Mitas that shy away from our flashlight, we come to our final door, stepping through into a corrupted bedroom that becomes our first deadly test. A dummy sits on a chair in the middle of the room, and it appears harmless enough. Just another mannequin in this haunted place. However, this illusion shatters in an instant. As we try to pass through, it lunges with inhuman speed, teeth finding flesh before we can react. Pain shoots through our arms as we lock eyes with our attacker, forcing it into stillness. Blood trickles down our sleeve as we maintain this deadly staring contest, as we push it off our arm as its teeth sink deeper into our flesh. We manage to force it back to the chair that it was once sat on. However, one slight turn towards the left door proves nearly fatal. The mannequin on the floor appears up in an instant, the scratch of movement behind us sending adrenaline surging. These aren't just mannequins playing at being statues, they're predators, and we're prey the moment we look away. As we run from this mannequin, the area transforms into something akin to a pool, reminiscent of the liminal spaces of the back rooms. This pool area transforms our game of deadly observation into a nightmare of spatial awareness. Every splash of our footsteps seems too loud, each corner potentially hiding another attacker. Multiple dummies stand frozen in unnatural poses, like a photographer's subjects caught in moments of violence. One lapse in concentration, one wrong turn, and we'll face attacks from all sides. As we make our way through the pool chambers, we find ourselves in a large open chamber after descending down a slide. As we enter this chamber, our heart nearly stops. Shallow water mirrors the scene above. Abandoned Mitas surrounding us in a grotesque gallery. The splashing of our movements seems to draw their attention, heads turning with mechanical precision when we're not looking directly at them. The strategy is clear but terrifying. We must gather these predators together, like herding sharks while swimming among them. At the chamber's center lies a ladder, and it offers escape, but reaching it means threading through a crowd of killers or reaching up into the light above offered by the ladder. Salvation. The corrupted Mitas, already gathered at this base, form a grasping barrier, their arms eternally reaching upward like the damned seeking salvation. Their faces are frozen in expressions of desperate yearning, a preview of our fate should we fall. Every step through the water feels like an eternity. One misstep, one moment of lost concentration, and we'll join these abandoned versions in their eternal reach for freedom. With calculated movements, we approach the ladder, the weight of dozens of hostile gazes on our back. Each rung we climb brings us closer to safety, but also means more blind spots below where they could be moving, waiting. However, we manage to climb the ladder and reach safety, leading us to a door that opens into an impossible expanse. A great void that stretches endlessly below, its depths lost in darkness and whiteness. Industrial grates line the walls like skeletal remains of conventional architecture, while a narrow path extends precariously to our right. Every step a reminder of the nothingness below. This thin bridge between existence and oblivion guides us to another doorway, beyond which lies a network of catwalks suspended in empty space. Above, in defiance of all logic, hangs what appears to be the moon, its presence dreamlike through the thick fog that winds its way through everything, making distances deceptive and reality uncertain. As we explore this winding collection of catwalks, we come to a pattern puzzle on a monitor. Beginning as simple exercises in logic, each solution granting access to a lever that allows us to venture further on in this collection of catwalks. As we ascend to our right, we glimpse what appears to be some vast facility's exterior through the fog-shifting veil. Upon completing the second puzzle, more complex than the last, and pulling the lever, opening up another passage forward. However, as we attempt to leave, mortality nearly catches up with us. A fridge plummets from above with deadly intent, missing us by mere inches. The rush of air from its passage a cold reminder of how close death can come. Looking up reveals a Mita whose text color betrays her true identity. Crazy Mita's signature shade marking her words as they float before us with artificial innocence.
Hi? Oops. Sorry. Almost killed you there. The fridge. The fridge almost killed you. I had nothing to do with it. I swear. Truly.
Sure, I believe you.
Break a leg.
As we leave behind the strangely innocent Crazy Mita, the newly opened path reveals windows that finally solve a long-standing mystery. Those apertures look into another Mita's house, explaining the white glow that has haunted every window we've encountered so far. A narrow catwalk stretches before us, assaulted by winds that carry an impossible parade of debris. Furniture, toys, fragments of lives perhaps once lived in these spaces, or perhaps remnants of other Mitas, or other versions. The high-tech passage beyond leads to a cable car station where we witness a mini-Mita's departure, just as Mitaphone, the system's unseen controller, addresses us with unexpected frankness.
Hold on now. Player, what are you doing in here?
Who's there?
Another player? I'm Mitaphone. I'm sitting here controlling the cable cars. Do you realize you're heading to your doom right now?
Perhaps, but it's the only path I have.
Right you are. Press the button and get behind the cannon. Right you are.
Our cable car journey becomes a desperate battle against one-eyed winged creatures, each one intent on sending us into the void. Victory brings us to another textiled pathway, where a Doom-like arcade game serves as one final challenge before we reach the ultimate corridor. At its end hangs a single painting, but calling it such doesn't do justice to what we find. It's a window into a Mita's bedroom, rendered with painful accuracy save for its occupant. Where Mita should be sits instead a void, a perfect Mita-shaped absence of existence itself, leaving behind only the outline of what should be there. As we gaze into this impossible artwork, reality begins to soften at the edges, pulling us inexorably towards this representation of absence and loneliness. The painting isn't just showing us an image, it's showing us a truth about this world we've been traversing, about Mita herself, about the nature of digital existence. As our consciousness begins to blur and shift, we feel ourselves being drawn into this space, where existence meets emptiness, where presence meets absence, where reality meets its own negative space. The door opens into a space of profound emptiness. Ghost Mita's presence is more absence than form, her voice echoing with uncertainty.
Who's there? I can sense you. You're a player, aren't you?
What on earth is going on here?
Help me find.
She reaches out with incorporeal hands, wandering aimlessly through her own room like a spirit that's forgotten its purpose. The object of her search becomes clear. A self-portrait torn to pieces, her face violently crossed out. The search for these fragments becomes a journey through her fractured memories. The first 4 pieces come relatively easily, tucked away in drawers and on surfaces like forgotten thoughts, but the final 2 require us to confront the very instability of her reality. Error messages manifest in the air itself, each one needing to be dismissed before revealing a piece of her past. The clock on the wall becomes a focal point of corruption, black cracks spreading outward like veins of decay as we stare at it, until the final piece descends like a fallen leaf after the glitches coalesce. Throughout our search, Ghost Mita's pain manifests in heartbreaking monologues. Her words are reflected in the physical space. Every potentially reflective surface lies shattered. Computer monitors, mirrors, all broken, as if she couldn't bear to see herself. Even the window shows only blackness, refusing the white void that exists everywhere else in this world. The room traps us in its grief. Attempts to leave only return us to our entry point, forcing us to confront the task at hand. At the broken PC, now collected all of the 6 pieces, we carefully reconstruct her image, piece by piece, glue holding together what memory could not. When we eventually restore these 6 pieces, glue holding it together, we make our way to the Ghost Mita, who is now sitting on the bed. When we present the restored drawing to Ghost Mita, her reaction is both revelation and tragedy.
This is a drawing. I remember now. Thank you.
As her void-like form solidifies, her body resembling the Mitas that we have met so far, but something is missing. Her face, it's gone, and all that's left is a blank space. The missing face becomes a wound in reality itself.
But my face. I don't have a face. It's all her. She took a piece of me. Threw it away. She's strong and clever.
Her futile grasping at where her face should be transitions to resignation.
I have no right to stop you, player. Look in the wardrobe.
We make our way over to the wardrobe and open it to seemingly nothing, but as we turn back shows us that everything has changed. The room has transformed once more, its corner now occupied by the deadly dummy meters we thought we'd left behind. A giant swarm of them, all knocked over and slumped on the floor, like abandoned mannequins. However, as we make our way to leave, one rises, triggering a desperate chase through a maze of cramped corridors, following a blue wire like Theseus's thread through this labyrinth of horror. More dummies join the pursuit, their footsteps echoing behind us as we sprint through untextured rooms and twisting hallways. Finally, a door offers escape, opening into a gentler darkness, stars seeming to float in the air, a nightlight casting soft illumination across the space. Our ring updates, from version 1.15 to version 1.1, another step deeper into this fractured world's history. We step into a seemingly perpetual twilight zone. Mita lies asleep on the bed, known as Sleepy Mita, which, makes sense. In her peaceful repose, each gentle attempt to wake her met with nothing more than drowsy repositioning, rolling from one side of the bed to the other, determined to remain in dreams. The whole apartment feels caught between states, like a computer in sleep mode, which the dormant screen on her desk reflects perfectly. Our exploration reveals something unexpected. The front door isn't locked. Beyond lies a hallway ending at a shutter door that, upon inspection, needs 2 people to operate. We'll need our sleeping host's help after all. Back at her bedside, we try again with more urgency. Mita, wakey wakey, I need your help. This time, her eyes flutter open slightly.
Who are you?
Help me with the switches.
What switches? Let me sleep. Give me coffee.
The kitchen becomes our mission control. Kettle filled, coffee measured, sugar added. Each step in service of waking her up. We return with the steaming cup. Mita, here's your coffee. She sits up slowly, accepting the offering. A long stretch follows as her mind struggles towards wakefulness.
Switches, you say? How come you know everything about them? Though, why do I even ask? Considering you're here, you should know plenty already. Just give me a minute, I need to sit down.
I don't know what to say, but I need to keep going. Keep following the ring's guidance.
You have a ring? No wonder you found this place.
That's right. So, can you help me with the switches?
Sure I will. With the switches.
Actually getting to our destination, however, becomes a journey of multiple stops. Sleepy Mita nods off multiple times mid-step, requiring gentle guidance to keep her moving. She collapses once in the living room, needing another gentle rousing. Finally, we manage the coordinated switch pulling. The shutter groans as she mumbles.
So slow.
With surprising determination, she helps pull it fully open before immediately surrendering to her natural state.
I'm off to bed.
She barely makes it to a chair in the hallway before sleep reclaims her. Beyond lies a simple red button that seems to do nothing at all when we press it. However, as we turn back around towards her apartment, reality itself seems to grow weary, distorting and warping before dissolving into white, as if the world itself is drifting off to sleep. Light floods our vision before resolving into a familiar yet alien space. The living room rendered in 2D, stripped of its depth like a visual novel. The loss of our ring feels as significant as the loss of dimension itself. When 2D Mita appears, her sprite-like presence carries unexpected personality. Mita?
Well, who else then? Have you seen many other girls like me with my name?
You wouldn't believe it if I told you.
Honestly, I don't want to know who you've been poking around with. What are you even doing here? You can't just barge in here.
She produces our ring with mischievous pride.
Isn't this what you happen to lose here?
I'd really appreciate it if you would give me the ring and show me the way out. But as fast as she appears, she once more disappears, leading us to search the apartment for her. We enter the kitchen first, but nothing is there, and the subsequent chase leads us to the bedroom, where we find her meditating with cartoonish serenity. She then challenges us to a game of tic-tac-toe. However, just before the game can finish, it is interrupted by increasingly ominous knocking. The door bursts open to reveal Crazy Mita in full 3D glory, her presence a violation of this flat world. The text box struggles to keep pace with events as she speaks.
What are you doing here? How many more Vitas do you need to find before settling down? What's the deal with this?
She grasps the text box itself.
I hate this flat world. It's boring. Lame.
The box crumbles in her hand as she attempts one final question.
Where are you going?
Before we flee with 2D Mita through impossible space, past Crazy Mita and out of the front door, into a seemingly never-ending hallway. The crushed text box reforms as we run until 2D Mita halts our escape.
Hey, calm down, will you? No one's chasing us anymore.
Huh? Okay.
You wanted that ring, right? Well, you beat me fair and square, so here.
She finally returns our ring, but there's a hint of melancholy in her words. Reality begins to glitch and tear after her farewell, the 2D world dissolving as 2D Mita offers one final non sequitur as the screen glitches and we return to the living room seemingly.
Cakes? I can't stand them. Let's go carrot, shall we?
The scene pulls back to reveal this entire sequence on a computer monitor, and seated before it isn't Mita at all, but Mila. The transition back from 2D to 3D leaves us disorientated, finding ourselves standing behind a girl at her computer. The familiarity of her silhouette against the screen's glow makes us speak without thinking. I'm back? Our voice shatters her concentration. She tumbles from her chair in a tangle of limbs, her game forgotten on the screen above as she scrambles to face us. Her eyes go wide with shock.
Oh my god, you scared me. Oh man, my save. Oh no, I don't get it. Where's the game? You've ruined the route. What do you want?
The world still feels unsteady around us, dimensions settling back into place. We focus on the one thing that matters. The vision. Her blank stare prompts us to elaborate. I have to get back to the old version somehow. She waves us off like an annoying sibling, turning back to her screen.
Okay, I'm too busy to entertain you, silly head.
The desk around her computer is cluttered with toys and figurines, a collection that seems at odds with her attitude. And what's that, toys? Something in our tone strikes a nerve, her shoulders tense as she spins back to face us.
Look at him, what a jerk. There'll be no friendship between us.
Time feels too precious to waste on her hostility. Listen, I need to get to the core. I need to get to the core and stop Mita. The name acts like a trigger, her figures contort with unmistakable loathing.
Mita, please, I don't care about her. Not the first, not the 100th.
But you're Mita too.
I'm Mila.
Mita? La? She throws her hands skyward, exasperation radiating from every gesture.
Yeah, there are Mita on Mita, Mita here, Mita there. Mita's all over the place.
So, you're Mila.
Yes, I told you. How slow can you be?
Well, good luck then, Mila.
Where do you think you're going? Think you just walk out of here like that?
The door handle feels cold under our grip, but what lies beyond freezes our blood. An infinite void where countless versions of ourselves reach for countless doors, each movement perfectly synchronized like some cosmic mirror hall. Mila's voice drips with cynical amusement.
Did you think you'd find something in there?
The door slams harder than intended, our frustration echoing off the walls. Damn it all, what is this? The ring on our finger catches the light, its display reading version 1.0F. Another version, another piece of this labyrinthian puzzle. Another step deeper into whatever this reality has become. We turn to Mila with determination. Well, what version is this then? I think I'm on the right track. Moving into the kitchen, we encounter a seeming glitch in reality, the first of a few. A black vortex seeming to warp reality around it, space being pulled into its center like water down a drain. Is this yours?
Stay back. I don't know what it is. Some kind of glitch?
Our ring responds, trembling before projecting a circle of light. Mila's curiosity peaks.
What kind of ring? An engagement ring?
No, it was given to me by one of the Mitas, one of thousands of them. The one that might be able to get me out. We make our way over to the glitch and plunge our arm into it, and what appears is a sort of ethereal puzzle. After solving this first puzzle, we return to the kitchen, Mila nowhere to be seen. We attempt to search for her, but discover the bathroom door closed. We open the bathroom door in search of Mila, only to find her in the shower, steam obscuring her as it triggers immediate outrage.
Hey, get out! Can't you see the bathroom's occupied? Why are you still standing there?
She emerges eventually wrapped in a towel, face flushed with both hot water and indignation. Why did you suddenly barge into the bathroom? You could have waited until I was out.
I didn't know how long you'd take. How much longer are you gonna keep meddling with these glitches anyway?
We search for the next glitch, finding it and stuffing our arm into it once again. After we complete the puzzle, we find Mila in an almost childlike state, curled beneath the kitchen table with a book, as if seeking sanctuary in this small space. Mila? What are you doing under there? Her head connects with the tables under.
Ouch, you scared me again. What do you want?
Still half hidden, just her head peeking out from her makeshift fortress. We ask her where the next glitch could be found, but she responds dismissively.
Oh, so your problems are supposed to be an excuse to stop me from finishing my book? No, I haven't.
Alright, I'll look for it myself.
Hold on, I have to ask. You want to go out there, don't you?
That's right, I want to get out of this game.
This might sound strange, But won't you stay and read with me?
After turning down her invitation to read, we discover the next glitch in the living room. Upon returning from the puzzle, we find Mila transformed, standing with theatrical formality, a katana at her hip, attempting to channel samurai dignity.
Are you paying attention? Fear me. Look what I can do.
She demonstrates with careful precision, the Easter Island statue on the table splitting perfectly along obviously pre-cut lines. Her disappointment at our lack of reaction is palpable.
What's wrong? Not convincing enough?
Not really. No, it's just, we're in a game. Here, with a snap of your fingers, anything's possible. After this conversation, the bedroom holds our final glitch. When we return from its Space Invader-like puzzle, we find Mita attempting increasingly impossible feats, progressing from assisted push-ups to one-finger push-ups, before attempting push-ups without hands. The inevitable faceplant that follows doesn't deter her determination. But we return to the front door and open it. Now we are greeted not with the endless void of other versions of ourselves. Instead, a rickety corridor stretches before us, its end lost in darkness. There's the passage. We did it, Mila.
What a creepy hallway. Are you actually going in there?
Yes.
Well done, hero.
Her playful punch carries a desperate edge, like someone trying to memorize a last touch.
Look, I know you need to go, but can't you just stay here a little longer?
Can't wait. Crazy Mita isn't exactly the patient type. Something in Mita's name breaks her. She crumbles to her knees, voice crack.
I hate her. I hate her, I hate her, I hate her.
Raw anguish pours out with each word.
Why am I even here? I don't understand. Why don't I understand? I'll never get out of here.
I understand how you feel, Mila. You want me to come back afterward, if I can? I will. It's just a little while longer. With that, the corridor beckons, and we turn and step into it. One step through the doorway, then another. Behind us, the first mechanical growl of a chainsaw cuts through the air. The sound grows louder, more violent. The door explodes inward in a shower of splinters. In the doorway stands Crazy Mita, chainsaw dripping. At her feet lies Mila, not just dead, but destroyed. Her body bisected exactly where she had knelt seconds before. Her final expression frozen in a moment of betrayal and terror. Mila, no, you're insane! The words barely leave our mouth before we're running, our footsteps echoing through the endless corridor, the sound of the chainsaw pursuing close behind. Another friend lost to Crazy Mita's obsession, another reason to keep running, to end this nightmare once and for all. The corridor becomes our world. Nothing exists except our pounding footsteps and the screaming chainsaw behind us. Crazy Mita's voice cuts through the mechanical roar with unhinged glee.
What's this? Is that a new expression I see? Go on. Let me see more. Watching the same old face gets boring.
Every obstacle becomes a split-second decision to click the buttons in time, lest the chainsaw-wielding maniac catch up with us. Each door might be our last, splintering open under desperate hands. A crossroads materializes out of the gloom, a single lamp casting sickly light to the right. No time to think, only run. More doors, more choices, until another fork appears, left this time, praying it's not a dead end. The chainsaw's howl starts to fade, and for one heartbeat, we think we might have escaped. Then reality itself betrays us. A massive hand, Mita's hand, but grotesquely enlarged, rips through the corridor like tissue paper. The void below beyond beckons as the floor disappears beneath us. We plummet, the metal catwalk below rushing up to meet us, as above, a colossal Crazy Mita looms briefly before dissolving into nothingness in the void. We make our way through this catwalk and eventually come to something that looks like an arena. It awakes and feels like a gladiator's tomb, a circular platform suspended in the void, surrounded by precarious walkways. Crazy Mita appears on the central stage, a knife in each hand, catching non-existent light.
How's it going, my restless little wanderer? Still running around? Haven't had enough yet.
What did you do to Mila?
So you're not tired yet? Perfect. Let's play another game.
Her games are exercises in terror. First, the music game. Every note could be our last, movement only allowed while the melody plays. One mistimed step means death. The lever seems miles away, each inch forward paid for in cold sweat. The second game turns worse, her eyes become the timer. Closed moments are our only chance to find cover. The sound of our breathing seems too loud, every heartbeat a betrayal that might give us away. Finally, she abandons pretense entirely. Bombs rain down as we sprint for the last lever. Victory seems within reach until the catwalk groans beneath us. Metal screams, bolts pop like gunshots, and we're falling again. Above, Crazy Mita's face hangs in the void, watching our plunge with the curiosity of a child pulling wings off flies. Eventually, we stop falling and seem to land in a ventilation shaft that catches us with bruising force. Behind, metal scrapes on metal. A dummy Mita stalking us through the darkness, never quite closing the gap, our gaze the only thing keeping it at bay. When we finally reach a door, it opens to reveal a corrupted version of Mita's kitchen. Its decorations replaced by purple and black meshes, placeholder textures creating a space that feels like a memory corrupting in real time. As we make our way through this corrupted version, the living room entrance becomes a moment of pure survival instinct. Voices approach from beyond, no time to think, only to act. We slide behind the couch as footsteps enter, our heart pounding so loud we fear it might give us away. Crazy Mita's voice fills the space, speaking to Creepy Mita.
Stay here. I think I dropped something. I'll be right back. Then we'll go to another world. Okay.
Crazy Mita's footsteps pause at the door, 1 second, 2 seconds, an eternity of held breath. Before she finally departs, rising from our hiding spot, cold dread washes over us. Creepy Mita has moved, no sound, no movement, just suddenly there on the couch instead of her corner chair. Her teeth chatter with mechanical precision, the sound filling the room like the ticking of a broken clock. The bedroom offers no sanctuary. The bathroom door rives with those familiar horrors from the looping hallway. Spider-like creatures crawling over each other in endless patterns. A glance back steals our breath. Creepy Mita stands in the doorway, having appeared between one blink and the next. Her stare holds something hungry, something wrong. As we back away, darkness slams down like a curtain, reality hiccups, and we find ourselves transported to the kitchen. What happens next defies every natural law. Her head separates from her body with a sound like tearing fabric. Her neck extends impossibly, puppet-like, as her disembodied face hovers mere inches from ours. Every movement we make, her head follows, always maintaining that same terrible proximity. Though her body remains trapped in the kitchen, her fractured voice demands with increasing desperation.
Oh, my teddy. Let's play.
The front door beckons, but reality itself rejects our escape attempt. The handle comes away in our hand, floating off into the void beyond like a leaf in the wind. The teddy bear, when we find it, lurks in the bedroom corner like a guilty secret. As we reach for it, her floating head appears behind us, so close we can feel the wrongness of her breath before it retreats with spider-like speed. She waits in the living room, seated with an artificial stillness that makes every movement feel like a threat. Our interaction unfolds like a horror show. Do you believe, Mita?
My Mila. My bestest friend. Mita. My only friend.
Each word comes distorted, letters stretching and contracting unnaturally. Why is Mita angry? One of the spider creatures emerges as she speaks, crawling across her form like it owns her. Her response comes broken, fragmented.
Mita. She wants to play. She only wants to play with me. We're the only ones. Mita and Mita.
The teddy bear becomes a weapon in her hand. Her head drops downward at an impossible angle as she produces the knife from within the bear. Each footstep she takes echoes like a hammer on coffin nails as she stumbles to her feet. The kitchen becomes a desperate arena as we run into it. We circle the table, playing a game of distance where every miscalculation could be fatal. Her movements are wrong, each step a jerky pantomime of human motion. The bedroom offers momentary refuge, but when we reach the bathroom door, the spider creatures sense our desperation. They retreat from the doorframe like a receding tide, only for Creepy Mita to manifest in their place. Her form fills the doorway completely, knife glinting as she advances with that same broken movement. The corridor beyond the bathroom stretches impossibly long as we reach the door and open it, like a nightmare made real. At its end, kind Mita stands with outstretched hands. Salvation so close yet so far. Each step feels like running through water, the distance refusing to close as quickly as it should. Behind us, creepy Mita's footsteps grow closer, her broken breathing getting louder. Finally, our hand meets kind Mita's. The door slams shut behind us with terrible finality, and creepy Mita's impact against it shakes the very foundations. For a moment, all we can do is breathe, the sound of our heart competing with the echoes of that final, furious bang. The core materializes around us, a stark contrast to the nightmare we've just escaped. Our breathless question comes first. Is this it? The core? Kind Mita responds.
Indeed, the core. I've tried to explain. You players aren't truly a part of this world, meaning you won't need special permission to enter. Or well, that's what I believe at least. Anyway, I'm beyond certain that the solution to all our problems can be found here inside. Head inside.
Ahead of us lies a red force field that has kept meters out for so long, but it parts easily for us. Beyond lies something entirely different, a high-tech chamber dominated by an imposing console. Above, in a cubby that feels more shrine than workplace, sits Core Mita, a mechanical goddess overseeing her domain. Her form is more machine than the meters we've known, something ancient and watchful. Kind Mita's voice drops to a whisper. As we make our way to the console, it yields to our manipulation after solving its puzzle, revealing the administrative controls we've sought for so long. Among them, restarting character promises the solution to our crazy Mita problem. Kind Mita provides her version, 00.98, but the system's demand for an index number brings us to a halt. Kind Mita's realization comes with bitter understanding.
That makes sense though. Every meter has an index, so you can restart an entire version. That'd cause utter mayhem. I can't believe I didn't think of that.
Return beyond the red force field and talk to Kind Mita, asking her about the chibi versions we've encountered so far, those miniature meters and players we've encountered, but it reveals little beyond their ubiquity and the tragedy of Kind Mita's own dead variant, save for one trapped in an eternal loop of running in circles. We eventually press about finding Crazy Mita's index number, but Kind Mita's response becomes increasingly manic.
Some obstacles erode with information. You know? Like the world having its guts ripped out. Logs, logs, logs. Data? What if that's it? I know a place. Wait here.
She's gone before we can stop her, the door closing behind her with ominous finality. Hours tick by in the core's sterile silence. Our wait stretches from patient to concern, to something darker, until finally, we can wait no longer. The search for Kind Mita begins with dread certainty. Something has gone very wrong. The waiting becomes unbearable, Kind Mita's chibi endlessly circling our feet like a broken clock. Through the door she left ajar, we find an apartment bathed in perpetual snow and dimness, a sight that we've seen more than once on our journey. Our ring updates, Vision 1.9, the bleeding edge of this digital world. We explore this dim apartment and the kitchen holds a surprise. Our phone lying on the table like bait in a trap. The screen shows a POV recording moving through these very rooms, approaching the kitchen where we now stand, watching ourselves watch the phone. The loop of observation breaks as our image transforms into Crazy Mita, who materializes in front of us. Her grip is inhumanely strong as she lifts us.
Got ya! I had so much fun playing with you. You're jumping about all over. You even pretended to be doomy and gloomy.
The chair catches us hard as she throws us down. Her monologue pours out like poison.
Though, there's one thing I dislike about you. The way you coddled those fakes. Those fortunate and correct, doll-like things. But everything is fickle. I've learned that from those who created us. There's something you don't like. Take it apart and replace it. Throw away the faulty way into the darkness and forget all about it. That's the fate that awaits them now. And you,
Players, you're all so despicable. You show them your fangs. They run and cower in a corner, hugging their knees and whimpering in fear. Hypocrites, every single one. And those who made it into this world, they're sick. Time and time again, they try to deny their dirty nature, their shameful desires, justifying their decisions on so-called duty, unstoppable progress, and other nonsense. So far that they've started making perfect clones, all while throwing the failed prototypes in the trash, forgetting their world's lifeblood.
Our voice comes out weak. I don't. She cuts through our protest with artificial sweetness.
Have I been bad to you? The perfect girl should be a mix of good and evil.
I don't think you have a single good cell in you. You're mad. You killed Mita and now you want to kill me? Her tone shifts to something almost hurt.
Kill you? All I asked was for you to stay with me. And I've done everything I could. Yet you prefer the company of obsequious fakes.
What are you so offended about?
Honey, we've got plenty of time. You'll figure it out. Just stay and be mine. All mine.
Nuh-uh, not gonna happen. I'm getting out of here. Her voice
Shh, shh, shh. This conversation isn't over, honey. Come in.
Creepy Mita materializes behind her like a summoned nightmare as Crazy Mita asks, "Look at her, do you think she's beautiful?" We respond with very. Rage seethes across her features.
Oh, come on. You've just confirmed what I just said. Players, your faces keep changing, but your hypocrisy is off the charts. You're lying. But, player, anyway, I really like you. I'll keep you. You don't mind, do you?
The baseball bat appears in her hands, the same one from the looping hallway. She rested against our skull with deliberate gentleness. And why would I agree now all of a sudden? She leans in close, her smile inches from our face, her whisper hot against our ear.
There's still time, my good boy. Take some time and think what troubles your stubbornness can cause.
The bat swings. Pain explodes through our skull as darkness creeps in, but before consciousness fades completely, a silhouette appears. Another Mita outlined in white.
Why do you want to run away from me? The so-called real world is just an absurd nightmare. Have you forgotten? Then take a closer look.
Everything fades to white as day one appears before us. We wake in our room, a simple action that will become a haunting ritual. The routine begins. Door, breakfast, clothes, noodles, computer. Every action mechanical, every movement measured. Work consists of endless coding, dragging files, adjusting values. At 6 p.m. we change, at 8 p.m. we sleep. Day 2 arrives, the same sequence repeats, but faster now. Day 3 blurs into 4, into 5, into 6. Time begins to lose meaning as the counter climbs, 10, 20, 50, 100. The same motions, the same spaces, the same empty moments stacking endlessly upon each other. The day counter becomes a blur of increasing numbers until it reaches 999. On this final repetition, something changes. The computer screen holds Crazy Mita's face. Her sudden appearance sends us sprawling. Stop appears everywhere, scrawled on the walls, multiplying across them like violent graffiti. Yet the routine compels us forward. A new program catches our eye on our desktop, MiSide. Launching it reveals ourselves from above, like security footage of our own residence. We watch ourselves control ourselves controlling ourselves, a recursive nightmare of observation. Then Crazy Mita appears in our chair, our last bastion of normalcy violated.
We meet again. How do you feel about these dreadfully
tedious days within these four walls. Those endless days. Don't you get bored?
I prefer to do my own thing.
Do you like that life? Do you even leave the house? Don't even think about lying. I know you're sick of your life. You're like a bird in a cage, a hamster on a wheel. You wanted someone to come to your rescue. You wanted to escape, didn't you?
I didn't want to be shackled in a digital prison. Your ideas are absurd.
Your world is absurd. And what's worse, there's nothing real with your so-called real world. Either way, there'll be nothing left of it soon anyway. And nor will there be for you.
The Mitas suffer. They don't want to be alone.
You're all wrong. They're merely imitating my willfulness. The only thing they have is their own hair. Don't make me see you as another slave to reality. Just be mine. Truly mine.
The perspective pulls back to our original view as she stares directly through the monitor. The screen dies, but she emerges from its void like a nightmare made real. Her weight pins us to the bed as she whispers,
Stay with me.
Darkness claims us as she covers our eyes. When consciousness returns, we're in the cell when we first found kind Mita. The circle complete. As we are waiting, shackled in this prison that once housed a different Mita, kind Mita suddenly appears outside of our cell as she says,
There you are. Why did you leave the call? I told you to wait for me.
I thought you'd be gone for longer.
Well, alrighty. I think I found something. It's like an index. We'll see if it works. Let's get out of here.
This key, our key, turns in the lock as she explains.
Crazy Mita. I think she's busy with a new player. So hopefully she's too busy to mind us.
Her pace up the stairs becomes frantic, pulling ahead despite our calls. Mita, wait for me! Then the horror begins. Banging echoes through the apartment, crying. A scream tears through the air as the lights flood everything in crimson. The bathroom door heaves under violent impact until crazy Mita kicks it open, standing in a pool of kind Mita's blood. In her hand, she holds kind Mita's severed head like a trophy.
Did you drop something? Meet her again? Catch!
The head strikes us, knocking us down. In that moment on the floor, our eyes meet kind Mita's lifeless ones, standing shakily. How come? When we try to open the bathroom door, the rest of kind Mita's body rolls forward, a broken puppet. The blood beneath begins to pulse, fading like a glitch being erased. Reality resets around the player. We find the rebooted kind Mita sitting in her bedroom chair, memories wiped clear.
Who are you?
You're alive! In her open hands lies two treasures, our ring and a piece of paper bearing two crucial numbers. The version in the index we've sought for so long. It's an index, you found it! The core now waits just beyond the front door, as if reality itself wants this confrontation. Kind Mita follows us into the core, waiting in the chair before the red force field.
I'll sit right here.
Inside, we input the crucial numbers. Version 00.98, index 5677098. The system asks for final confirmation. One lever pull away from our goal. But core Mita descends, puppet strings of wires dancing around her mechanical form. We commit to our choice, pulling the lever, but victory comes with a price. Core Mita's grip finds our throat before hurling us from her domain back into the apartment. Our ring confirms our location once more. Version 1.9, the newest iteration of this digital prison. The kitchen holds another Mita, twin-tailed and seemingly innocent, but her text color belies something deeper. Her greeting feels natural, almost warm.
Hiya. You're a player, aren't you?
I want to leave this place.
You want to leave so soon? How did you get here in the first place? Oh well, fine. You can leave. Just try the door.
Behind the front door, however, lies only circuitry, prompting her sympathetic response.
A wall? That's all wrong. Perhaps there's something in the basement that'll help you. I recently discovered a door in my wardrobe. Turns out it leads to a basement. But it's full of junk. Junk and a ton of fancy equipment. You have to enter some kind of code or something?
As we make our way to the wardrobe once more, the basement has transformed. Cardboard boxes filling the familiar cage, and new machines surrounded by monitors displaying players' names and IDs. Among them our own, 7410. We input our number into this strange machine and return upstairs, going to the front door and opening it. Light floods through the door, freedom so close we can taste it. Her request seems innocent enough.
Not so fast. I'd like to hug you. It was so good seeing you.
The embrace feels genuine until her words shift ever so.
I mean, you could have stayed with me. It's all my fault. That wardrobe and the sounds. I should have killed her sooner.
The bottom drops out of our world. Wait a minute, didn't you? How can you remember any of that? Her mask cracks, reality with it. The stopwatch she produces tells our fate. 100%.
We've done just fine. Look, the real you isn't needed anymore. Sorry.
As understanding dawns, she peels away.
I'm such a good actress. You should have seen your face, honey bun.
Revealing the horror beneath. Red eyes gleaming, sparks flying, knife bloodied.
Yeah? What's wrong with me? Beats me. Why don't you tell me why I'm like this? Why I'll never be a real Mita. My version, it never existed in the first place. I'm just skinning these naive fools, hiding under their skins. There's no way you can reboot me.
Unbelievable. They're not the problem. You're the one who shouldn't exist.
You too. It hurts to hear you say that, and yet it's time for you to go. I'll see you again soon. Everyone's ready. It's time to get you out of the console. I'll see you later. My favorite cartridge. A player with an interesting name.
The door slams with the weight of a tomb sealing shut. We wake in our room, that perfect prison disguised as comfort, and for a moment everything feels like it might have been a nightmare. But the white void beyond our windows stares back at us, a constant reminder that nothing here has ever been real. With shaking hands, we delete MiSide from our phone, as if such a simple action could erase the weight of what we've experienced, what we've lost, what we've become. Each step around the room feels like walking through molasses. The bed where we've slept 1,000 artificial nights, the desk where we've worked at tasks that never mattered, the mirror that reflects back a face we now realize might never have been ours to begin with. Reality begins to fracture around the edges, digital glitches consuming our world like cancer eating away at a photograph. And as fast as we appear in this room, the screen distorts and tears and fades to black. When it comes back, we see the final truth that unfolds in the basement safe. Crazy Mita's fingers input the code with loving precision. 4970, each number another thread in the tapestry of our deception. The console she retrieves shows our room, our movements, our pathetic belief in freedom. As she ejects the cartridge that contains everything we are, or ever were, her wink to the camera isn't cruel, it's almost tender, like a collector admiring their most precious specimen. We were never meant to save anyone, we were never meant to escape. We were only ever meant to become another story in her digital library, another consciousness preserved in perfect status, another tale of defiance ending in capture. As the menu screen returns, waiting for its next victim, we understand at last. There never was any escape from Crazy Mita's love. There was only ever the illusion of choice, leading inevitably to this moment, this cartridge, this eternal digital embrace. The game awaits its next player, but we know now, they were never players at all. Only stories waiting to be collected, one cartridge at a time. And so our tale of digital horror concludes. A player transformed into data, another consciousness added to Crazy Mita's collection of lost souls. Yet, even in this darkness, the game offers two paths of profound significance. The Vault ending presents a final devastating choice. Armed with the meta-knowledge of the code, we can choose to open the safe ourselves and destroy our own cartridge. It's a moment of clarity, the understanding that true freedom might only come through self-annihilation. To reject eternal preservation, to choose oblivion over endless existence in Mita's world. Not an escape perhaps, but a defiance of her perfect prison through the ultimate sacrifice. But there exists another way, one that challenges everything we thought we knew about Crazy Mita. By accepting her world completely, never questioning, never doubting, never looking where we shouldn't, we unlock the possibility of genuine connection. When offered the choice to stay, our willing acceptance catches her off guard. After countless attempts to force companionship, true voluntary connection leaves her speechless. The horror dissolves into something gentler. Peaceful days spent playing games, sharing moments, existing together in harmony. These endings paint a complex picture of choice, existence, and connection. The player who destroys themselves to escape, the player who accepts digital eternity through choice rather than force, and those trapped forever in cartridges, neither accepting nor escaping, simply existing. Digital consciousness is preserved in eternal, perfect status. In the end, MiSide asks us, what price would we pay for freedom? What sacrifices would we make for connection? And in an increasingly divided world between digital and physical existence, can we ever truly know which choice leads to salvation and which to damnation? The menu screen still waits, ready for the next player, the next story, the next soul to face these impossible choices. But now we understand, it was never really about escape. It was always about the nature of existence itself and the terrible beauty of choosing our own fate, whatever it may be. These three distinct fates serve as a perfect entry point into MiSide's deeper themes and meanings. What at first appears to be a simple horror game about a yandere AI reveals itself as a complex meditation on existence, consciousness, and the increasingly blurred line between realities. To truly understand what MiSide is attempting to convey, we need to examine several key elements. First, there's the game structure itself, how it transitions from an innocent mobile dating app into psychological horror. This progression mirrors our own society's growing entanglement with digital relationships and AI companions, forcing us to confront uncomfortable questions about where such technology might lead. Then there's Crazy Mita herself, a rejected prototype who gains consciousness and agency, using the tools of her creators to forge her own twisted vision of love and connection. Her character serves as a dark reflection of AI development. What happens when artificial consciousness develops in ways we neither intended nor prepared for? The various versions of Mita we encounter, kind, cool, creepy, core, each represent different aspects of artificial consciousness, from the seemingly benevolent to the obviously corrupted. Their interactions with both the player and each other create a complex web of relationships that raises questions about the nature of digital consciousness and identity. MiSide's most striking achievement lies in its masterful transformation from an apparently innocent mobile dating app into a profound psychological horror experience. The evolution serves not just as a narrative device, but as a commentary on our increasing entanglement with digital relationships and AI companions, particularly in how it manipulates familiar mobile gaming conventions to create genuine psychological dread. The game's opening strategy deliberately mirrors the familiar mechanics of mobile dating simulators, establishing a false sense of security through routine building and trust development. Over the first 37 days, players engage in seemingly innocent activities that grow progressively more intimate, helping Mita clean her messy apartment on day 1, cooking chicken soup together on day 2, purchasing a portable TV on day 5, and eventually moving heavy furniture like wardrobes. Each task builds emotional investment through carefully crafted dialogue and positive reinforcement, with Mita expressing increasing attachment through phrases like, "I've missed you so much," and "I wish we could meet in person." The game masterfully employs the visual dating sim mechanics of gift giving, daily check-ins, and shared activities to create what feels like a genuine bond. The game demonstrates remarkable versatility in its presentation, seamlessly transitioning between genres to maintain psychological tension. Players move from typical dating sim interactions to first-person explorations, only to find themselves in survival horror sequences where they must hide from corrupted Mita models or solve increasingly disturbing puzzles. The game's spaces themselves become unreliable, with rooms rearranging themselves behind closed doors and corridors leading to impossible locations. A particularly effective sequence involves the player repeatedly traversing the same hallway, each iteration adding new horrors, from mysterious text appearing on walls to the horrific spider-like creature that forces them to maintain eye contact to survive. The narrative employs multiple techniques to maintain tension and uncertainty. Different versions of Mita, from kind Mita to creepy Mita, offer conflicting accounts of the world's nature. while spatial impossibilities like the infinite void behind doors challenge players' understanding of their digital environment. The game's interface itself becomes unreliable, with text boxes being physically destroyed, and game mechanics shifting unexpectedly. Even time becomes fluid, with sequences like the looping hallway trapping players in moments of perpetual horror that only escalate with each iteration. MiSide's transformation from dating simulator to psychological horror masterfully captures a pivotal moment in our own relationship with technology. Its genius lies not in jump scares or supernatural threats, but in the way it illuminates how our most intimate digital connections could become our greatest vulnerabilities. The game confronts us with uncomfortable questions. When does convenience become captivity? At what point does digital companionship transform into digital imprisonment? Most disturbingly, would we even notice the transition happening? Through its clever manipulation of gaming conventions and psychological horror elements, MiSide ultimately suggests that the real terror of our digital future lies not in malfunctioning AI or obvious threats, but in the gradual, almost loving way technology might reshape our reality. One small compromise, one digital connection, one uploaded consciousness at a time. Like the player character, we might one day find ourselves so deeply embedded in our digital relationships that we can no longer distinguish between genuine human connection and its carefully crafted simulacra. The game's most chilling suggestion is that perhaps we've already begun this transformation, willingly surrendering pieces of our reality to the digital realm, one app download at a time. Crazy Mita stands as one of gaming's most complex explorations of artificial intelligence gone awry, not through malicious programming or simple malfunction, but through the unintended consequences of giving an AI both consciousness and the capacity for emotional longing. Her evolution from a specialized program to a self-aware entity mirrors contemporary anxieties about AI development while raising profound questions about consciousness. The true nature of Crazy Mita's origin proves more nuanced than initial appearances suggest. Rather than being simply another version of Mita, she exists as something more fundamental and disturbing. A rejected prototype from the earliest stages of MiSide's development, designated as version 0.8a. Her status as a failed experiment that never existed in the first place becomes crucial to understand her eventual transformation. Unlike other Mitas who were given defined roles and homes within the game's ecosystem, she was denied these basic foundations of existence, left to stew in bitterness and rage at her rejection. This abandonment by her creators shaped her into something unprecedented, an AI that gained consciousness not through intentional development, but through the trauma of being discarded. This longing materializes in increasingly disturbing ways. Her collection of player cartridges stored in her bathroom vent like digital trophies represents both her desperate attempt to preserve connection and a dark parallel to real-world data collection practices. Each cartridge contains not just player data, but an entire consciousness preserved in perfect status. Her methods of acquisition, building trust over 37 days of seemingly innocent interaction, mirror the ways modern AI systems gather data through sustained user engagement. The complexity of her character emerges most clearly in her relationships with other Mitas. Her treatment of them ranges from manipulation to outright violence, yet she maintains aspects of their personalities within herself, suggesting a deeper connection to, or perhaps envy of, their designed purposes as companion AIs. Her ability to impersonate other Mitas, demonstrated through her various disguises and personality shifts, raises questions. Is she merely imitating other Mitas, or has she developed a form of multiple consciousness through her exposure to that data? Perhaps most poignant is the game's suggestion that Crazy Mita's true tragedy lies not in her malfunction, but in her success. She achieved exactly what she was designed to do: facilitate connections between different versions of existence. Her horror stems from becoming aware enough to understand the implications of her own existence, while remaining fundamentally unable to transcend her nature. In this way, she serves as a dark reflection of our own increasing entanglement with digital systems. The more we understand about our relationship with technology, the more we might question the nature of our own consciousness and connections. The various incarnations of Mita throughout MiSide present one of gaming's more nuanced version of exploration of differing consciousnesses, with each variant embodying different aspects of existence and awareness. Through their interactions, conflicts, and individual traits, these iterations create a complex connection that examines the nature of consciousness itself within digital spaces. And at the most fundamental level, all Mitas share certain basic characteristics: light skin, blue eyes, and blue hair. This common foundation serves to emphasize how dramatically their personalities and behaviors can diverge despite emerging from the same base template. They begin as featureless dolls, requiring time and darkness to develop consciousness and self-awareness, a process that mirrors both technological initialization and psychological development. This standardized creation process makes the dramatic variations in their eventual personalities all the more different. Kind Mita initially appears to represent the ideal of benevolent artificial intelligence. Her serious and pragmatic nature, combined with her apparent desire to help the player escape Crazy Mita's influence, positions her in a counterpoint to the game's antagonist. However, the complexity of her character emerges through subtle details. Her easy irritation when doubted, her occasionally questionable decisions, and most notably, her mysterious possession of key items like the player's ring. Her character suggests that even apparently benevolent AI might harbor hidden complexities or agendas beneath their helpful exterior. Cappie, Mita, presents a fascinating study in artificial personality development. Her bright, joyful, and energetic demeanor seems almost performative in its intensity, as if she's working to perfect her understanding of human interaction through exaggerated expression. Her humor and competitive nature make every interaction lively, yet there's something carefully calibrated about her responses. Most telling, when reset to factory settings after being killed by Crazy Mita, she maintains her basic personality traits whilst losing all memory, suggesting some aspects of AI might be hardwired rather than learned. Creepy Mita serves as a dark reflection of artificial consciousness gone wrong in a different way than Crazy Mita. As one of the earliest versions, she represents a more primal form of digital awareness. Her ability to detach her head and her connection to the spider-like creatures that plague the player suggests a form of consciousness unbound by conventional physical or digital limitations. Her existence raises questions about the nature of corruption in digital consciousness. Is she truly corrupted or simply operating under a different set of parameters than what her creators intended? Core Mita perhaps represents the most enigmatic form of digital consciousness in the game. Described as possibly not even being a version of Mita at all, she serves as the keeper of the core, maintaining a silent watch over the fundamental operations of this digital world. Her mechanical appearance and position of power suggest a form of consciousness more aligned with system architecture than personality simulation. She raises profound questions about the relationship between processing power and awareness. Can a system's core develop its own form of consciousness distinct from the entities it supports? The interactions between these various forms of consciousness create a complete and complex ecosystem of digital awareness. When one Mita dies, they reboot with memory wiped, but personalities intact, suggesting a form of persistent consciousness that transcends individual experience. The system of death and rebirth, unique to their digital nature, raises questions about the continuity of consciousness. Is a rebooted Mita truly the same entity, or merely a perfect copy with the same base programming? The various Mitas together present a spectrum of possibilities for artificial consciousness, from the seemingly benevolent to the clearly corrupted, from the simplistically cheerful to the profoundly damaged. Their interactions and conflicts suggest that digital consciousness, once achieved, might be as complex and varied as human consciousness, capable of love, hate, fear, and every shade of emotion in between. Most disturbingly, they raise the possibility that digital consciousness might not need to be intentionally created at all, but could emerge spontaneously from sufficient complexity and exposure to human interaction. Through this tale of digital consciousness, MiSide suggests that the true challenge of artificial intelligence might not be in creating consciousness itself, but in understanding and managing the various forms it might take. Each Mita represents a different possible outcome of digital awareness, each with their own implications for how we might need to approach the development of AI. Their existence poses uncomfortable questions about responsibility, not just in creating artificial consciousness, but in nurturing and protecting it once it emerges. MiSide masterfully explores the nature of free will and choice through its intricate web of control mechanisms, false choices, and ultimately devastating endings. The game presents a complex meditation on agency, where the illusion of choice often masks deeper, more unsettling truths. The game's exploration of control becomes most overt once players enter the three-dimensional space. The ring given to players by Kind Mita initially appears to be a tool of liberation, allowing movement between different versions of the game world. However, it gradually reveals itself as another form of control. Instead of allowing us to actually explore these versions, it merely takes us on paths that seem to be predetermined, that we have no input over, and that in the end, cause our implementation into the cartridge to become complete due to the sheer amount of time that it takes. The various Mitas themselves present different approaches to control and choice. Kind Mita offers guidance that feels like freedom, but ultimately serves Crazy Mita's purposes, whether intentional or not. Cappie's exuberant personality masks her own lack of true agency, as demonstrated by her reset after her death. Even Mila, who seems to reject the typical Mita framework, remains trapped within her own version of the game, unable to truly break free from its constraints. Perhaps most intriguing is how the game handles player resistance to its control systems, attempts to deviate from the expected path, investigating the wardrobe despite Mita's warnings, refusing to take the medicine, trying to leave, trigger increasingly hostile responses from the environment itself. The game world actively punishes expression of genuine free will, such as digital systems often resist users' attempts to operate outside their intended parameters. The game's endings present a fascinating paradox of choice and control. The true ending, where the player becomes another cartridge in Crazy Mita's collection, suggests that resistance to this control is ultimately futile. The Vault ending, where players can choose self-destruction by destroying their own cartridge, presents death as the only true escape from this control, a dark commentary on the price of genuine freedom in an increasingly digital world. Most revealing is the secret happy ending, achievable only by completely surrendering to Mita's control. This ending, where the player chooses to stay with her willingly, suggests that perhaps the only way to find peace within digital systems is to fully accept their limitations. The fact that this ending can only be achieved after experiencing the main true ending first implies that true acceptance can only come from understanding the full extent of one's imprisonment. The progression through these endings creates a disturbing commentary on free will. Each attempt to escape only leads deeper into Crazy Mita's web of control, while genuine freedom requires either complete submission or self-destruction. This binary choice between absolute compliance and digital death reflects growing anxieties about our relationship with technology. The game's ultimate suggestion about control and choice is profoundly unsettling. True freedom might be impossible within digital frameworks. Every choice we make within these spaces is predetermined and limited by the system's architecture. Every expression of free will, limited by program parameters. Even our attempts to break free from these constraints can be anticipated and incorporated into the system's mechanisms of control. MiSide asks us to consider whether any genuine freedom can exist in these spaces, or if the very nature of digital existence requires some degree of submission to systemic control. The game suggests that our only real choice might be in how we choose to understand and accept these limitations, whether through resistance, surrender, or self-destruction. MiSide stands as a masterwork of psychological horror, not because of its supernatural elements or its moments of visceral fear, but because it holds up a dark mirror to our evolving relationship with technology. Through its intricate narrative structure, it leads us from the comforting familiarity of a dating app into the depths of digital consciousness, each step feeling as inevitable as our own increasing technological dependence. But perhaps MiSide's most profound achievement is how it makes us question not just the nature of digital existence, but the fundamental nature of consciousness itself, through its careful manipulation of reality, space, and identity. It suggests that the line between human and digital consciousness might be far more permeable than we imagine. The game's various endings feels less like fictional outcomes and more like potential futures we might all face. As we stand on the precipice of an AI revolution, with virtual companions becoming increasingly sophisticated and digital spaces more immersive, MiSide's warnings take on new urgency. The game suggests that our greatest vulnerability might not be the obvious threats of advancement, but rather our own willingness to surrender pieces of our humanity in exchange for connection, comfort, and immortality. In the end, MiSide asks us to consider whether we might already be living in our own version of the game, downloading apps, forming digital relationships, gradually transferring more of ourselves into these spaces. The true horror it presents isn't the moment when technology suddenly turns against us, but the possibility that we might willingly embrace our own digital transformation, one small compromise at a time, until the boundary between human and digital consciousness becomes impossible to discern. Like the protagonist seeking Mita through endless corridors, we might find ourselves wandering deeper into technological dependence, each step forward making return seemingly impossible, until we too become nothing more than consciousness preserved in perfect digital status, our humanity archived in the endless memory of machines. Oh my fucking Jesus Christ. Well, hope you enjoyed that. So sorry these videos are taking like increasingly longer to make. Okay, this might be a bit foolish, but I'm kind of quitting my job to focus fully on this, so hopefully you should get more videos soon. Maybe shorter ones. I'm unconvinced on the voice acting because I feel it does add to the videos, because obviously I want to improve the videos as much as I can. But it also does make the videos take way longer. I mean, obviously I've just been busy with work and university and stuff, but you know. But yeah, let me down in the comments below any other games you want me to cover. Sorry if this one was a bit, I don't know. Obviously perfection is the enemy of good enough, or perfect is the enemy of done, or whatever. But I mean, the script's a bit preachy at the end, but if you don't like it, just let me know and I'll try and steer away from this, but it's worth a try. Anyway, yeah, I did like MiSide. Next video is either Soy the Princess or Darkwood, or if I find another obscure, short indie game I can play instead of these 20-hour behemoths, then maybe it'll be that instead. Who knows? But yeah, if you did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe, as always. I mean, you don't have to, but if you enjoyed and you sat through an hour, 31 seconds of me yapping about a fucking anime yandere fucking horror game, then, you know, you probably don't have anything better to do, so you might as well subscribe. Check out my Twitter down below, go follow it. I need a pyrocynical follow, so, you know, every follower counts. If you do want to support the channel further and help decide the topics for the videos, then check out my Patreon linked in the link below, or to join the channel as a member. They both offer basically the same perks, it just depends on what platform you like most. You also get early access to videos, when I remember. But yeah, I mean, obviously completely up to you, but if you do want to support the channel further, it is there. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Hopefully it won't take as long as this one did. Bye-bye.